How do you feel about Elon Musk's salutes during the inauguration? Not great, Bob, but why not throw up a Nazi salute at this point? There's nothing and no one to hold them accountable for anything they do at this point. They could start executing people and there is no one to stop them, because the king ordered it. Not to get all political, but I think Nazis are bad and we shouldn't let them have power. Whoa bro, stop being so radical. Does anyone else see the similarity to the US today and the rise of Nazi Germany? Is Canada to US going to be France to Germany? People have seen it for decades, but nobody has believed them because it's been such a slow burn. Now people are literally doing Nazi salutes on television and people are still trying to excuse it because the water is actively boiling the frog. Hot take. Oh, maybe actually a hot take. One of the richest men in the world that has a natural amount of influence over the US president does a Nazi salute. Bad. I naturally feel bad about it. 2 Nazi salutes actually. Actually, it was 3. Oh, and not one of the richest. Fiop. Cook. Edit. For all the people not seeing the forest for the trees saying stuff like but Putin, MDS. The wealth of Mansa Musa would make them all blush, and for good reason. By all accounts, he was not only the wealthiest human to ever live, but also extremely generous. See, it's not about the money and therefore influence it purchases you, it's about what you do with it. Elon has used his to put him on the biggest stage in the world while performing multiple Sieg Heil-style salutes. You cannot praise this man for being intelligent, as implied by his apparent financial success, and then excuse this behavior as if he would not know exactly what he was doing and why it would be rightly seen as problematic. This isn't making mountains out of molehills, it's calling a spade a spade. Behind a podium with the presidential seal, it hardly gets more political than that. The rikest man in the world, ladies and gents. Sorry, I just woke up in Australia. He did the fucking Nazi salute. Dude threw the Sieg Heil so hard I thought he'd lose his arm. I just watched it. And yep, that was so aggressive that 10 years ago he'd have to resign from his positions and go into hiding. But this is what conservatives love now, so he'll just make fun of people making a big deal out of it. My true feelings about this would get me banned from this website. All I will say is that it is wildly unacceptable and any competent administration would have him ejected from his position before the end of the day. If a member of Biden's administration did this in 2020, the right would be calling for their head on a platter. No, say it. This is disgusting. How the fuck did this happen? I can understand some morons on January 6th saluting the flag that way, but the South African billionaire, that was front row on inauguration. I can't believe more people aren't enraged by this. I mean, when Fox News is covering it up and it's these idiots' only news source, it's no surprise. Edit. Apparently it was even posted on conservative but got taken down in minutes. That's crazy. I won't be surprised if the right tries to scrub this as much as possible, and considering all social media is owned by Trump's supporters, owners, or oligarchs, take your pick, and they'll probably be scrubbing it from X, TikTok, and FB, Insta. Just a reminder that I believe his grandparents were Nazis, and that his dad gave him a name from a sci-fi book written by another Nazi, Werner von Braun. Edit. Lots of you are upset that I've called von Braun a Nazi. You can be a successful aerospace engineer and a member of the SS simultaneously, and get away with all the pesky Nazi stuff if the US needs you to build rockets for them badly enough. And that he supports the AfD party in Germany. Or that when he took over Twitter he unbanned neo-Nazi accounts immediately. Nazi Twitter accounts are now flourishing on Twitter. Or when he promoted Tucker Carlson's interview with a Nazi apologist, where in the interviewee said the murder of Jews in concentration camps was humane, and Elon said the interview was interesting and worth watching. They've won. They don't have to hide. I have friends and family members laughing it off, saying it's a joke or that he is weird, and it's him saying his heart goes out to those who support him. I'm not kidding. We're cooked. From now on, people will start using the salute with the words "My heart goes out to America," normalizing it. It will later change into "I salute America" and eventually be used to interchangeably salute the USA, Trump, or the party. Historians in the future will name it the MAGA salute. He seemed really smug and proud of what he'd done for Simone, who looked like he was having some sort of ketamine fit. Embarrassing execution by an evil man. Glad I'm not American. Worried that America has nukes. Because at heart he's a 14-year-old kid from 4chan, obsessed with triggering the libs. He probably looked smug and proud because he thought of all the reactions this will get. It's hard to even talk about how Peter Thiel and his ilk all openly support fascism when they're also such cringy edgelord goobers. Don't forget that Himmler was a chicken manure salesman before Hitler came to power. Losers in positions of power is nothing new. There's a whole chapter in The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich that goes over the idiots that banded around Hitler. And here we've King go again, watching the evil dorks hasten us down the road to fascism. Edited, updated German to third. The book is The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich. Texted my dad the video of him doing the salute. Him being a Trump supporter had the following explanations. He wasn't doing the Nazi salute, he did it, but he was showing where we were versus where we are going. It was actually Hail to the Chief, that's a song. Oh yeah, but Joe Biden is a commie. I have never been so disappointed in my own father. My mother is unfortunately the same. She wants to stay neutral before judging too quickly. Could be a normal greeting people do every day at concerts and festivals, she says. We're fucking Germans. I'm glad he did it. I knew this was who he was. Now he's made it obvious to the world. There's no denying it. No more stop being dramatic. They're not really Nazis. The conservative sub is saying that he was telling the crowd my heart goes out to you all and then grabbing his heart and throwing it to the crowd. So that's how they're rationalizing it if you were wondering. Emotionally, he's an infant. He has no filter, and his actions are dictated entirely by his juvenile whims. I think because of this, he's a terrible person, and what he chose to do is revolting. It's like asking me how I feel about an angry toddler's actions. I'm definitely not going to agree with them. The Americans made their bed, now they get to sleep in it. Unfortunately, those of us with functioning brains are being dragged into it as well. I feel like there are only 3 realities to this situation and all 3 of them are quite awful. He knew exactly what he was doing and he did it on purpose for anti-Semitic, neo-Nazi reasons. So there's an open neo-Nazi in federal government doing Hitler salutes on live television. B. He knew exactly what he was doing and while he wasn't doing it for neo-Nazi purposes, he did it as a joke or troll. So there's someone who thinks doing neo-Nazi trolling on live television is funny in federal government. C. He didn't actually know that what he was doing was specifically a neo-Nazi salute. So there's someone who has a critical lack of historical knowledge of arguably the worst period of time in the 20th century in federal government. None of those are okay. How do I feel? A fucking Nazi threw a Nazi salute at the inauguration. I feel sick, but probably not as sick as a World War II veteran would feel. Trump should drop Musk like Aldo Rain would drop a Nazi. My grandpa is a 95-year-old World War II veteran. I was on the phone with him this evening and he was crying. Only ever seen my grandpa cry a handful of times. Once when he met his great-grandson, my kid, and once when my grandma passed. Something about an old man bawling just rips me up inside. 74 million people voted for this. I don't care. We'll make history once again. Remember when we asked why did people allow the Holocaust to happen? It's exactly like this. Hitler was voted president because he villainized the Jews while MAGA villainized Hispanics. I honestly don't believe 74 million people voted for this. I'm not saying it is voter fraud, but my brain won't accept it as fact. Okay. As much as I appreciate the sentiment, there's a lot historically wrong in that sentence. Hitler was appointed to the position of chancellor. He was not voted into a position as head of state. Also, the Nazis didn't initially campaign on an anti-Jewish agenda. They campaigned as anti-LGBT, because it was easier to rally people to that cause. People who say this is accidental or whatever, well, I've never accidentally performed a Nazi salute in my life. It's easy to not do it. Elon Musk did that Nazi salute on purpose, twice, front and back. The twice part is really key as well, and the turning, it is where their portrait of Hitler, or Hitler himself would be seated. There is a 0% chance this is an accident. Personally, I don't think it was a Nazi salute. I understand the similarities, but if you watch the clip with audio, it's pretty clearly just a gesture he makes in reference to what he says. Edit. I never said I liked the Mannschild, or that he wasn't fascist. I just don't think it was a genuine Nazi salute. He's clearly doing the Nazi salute, so that's not really in question. The charitable view is that he just thought it would be funny and a good troll. To do a Hitler salute at a presidential inauguration. Again, that's the charitable view. This is what happens when you become so rich that you will never experience consequences for your actions. Everything just becomes a game. Like, this man can ruin your life for fun by just dropping a Brinks truck on you, and he will do it if he thinks it'll be fun. That's really the takeaway people should always remember. Comment what you think about it.